that's why there is never any substance from the Leader of the Opposition.
Just another typical day in Parliament. But as we found out last week, it is this sort of Punch and Judy politics that is turning off many young voters. But with the polls narrowing and a hung Parliament looking more likely, the two main parties may be forced to rely on the Liberal Democrats to allow them into power. So come election night, it could be Nick Clegg who ends up playing puppet master, deciding whether to form a government with the Tories or with Labour. But what would a government with a Lib Dem presence mean for students?
The Liberal Democrats have policy that appeals to young people, and I think liberalism as a whole is a very attractive ideology to young people. However, young people don't tend to meet us halfway. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have attractive policy to young people, they've got to come out and vote for you.
And students might well do at the next general election. As with a promise to cut tuition fees over the next 6 years, the Liberal Democrats might scrap one of the students' biggest fears, being a deeply indebted graduate.
But for the other parties, the main problems for young people start after education.
We need to encourage businesses to take on more young people and to give them a role that actually suits them. The hardest thing I think that most students or most graduates over the last 2 or 3 years will find is that they're having to go into roles which don't necessarily suit their skill set and certainly not suited to what they've studied.
However, with more than 1 million 18 to 24-year-olds not in employment, education or training, most young people just want a job. At the Labour Party's Dagenham campaign base, politicians are well aware of youth unemployment.
Labour's put the strongest offer to young people out of any of the mainstream parties. I mean, the government have recently announced their Future Jobs Fund. Now, the Future Jobs Fund, is over £1.5 billion, which is basically giving people a guarantee that if they're unemployed after 60 days, they're actually going to get either a job, an internship, or an apprenticeship.
Labour's plan might sound promising, but with the high national debt, implementing these policies won't be easy. Whoever the next government is, they will be faced with tough decisions when trying to balance cuts against investments. And these decisions will impact on everyone, young and old. Stefanie Linhardt, Westminster News.